Hello, welcome to video number 6. In this video, we're going to be discussing the state of consciousness that we call disconnected and apathetic. And in previous videos, we've been helping you understand how to help people recognize where they're connected, where they're disconnected, and you've hopefully at this stage of the game, you've gotten your hands on yourself enough and on maybe some other people, and you can see that sometimes people have a really nice silky connection with a part of their body, but another part of their body, they're just really disconnected from it, like they just can't do it. And one of the real statements we're making is that as that person learns to connect and bring ease into the parts of their body that they really don't have much connection with, that their quality of life is going to go up. And I think it's really important as an individual that you really watch yourself, that as you get more connected inside of yourself, you'll notice that you make you think a little bit differently. You have a little bit more capacity, and I would claim, and good research backs it up, that that's because you're becoming more somatically aware. And so in this video, it's all about being disconnected, meaning that you really can't find a part of your body, but while you can't find your body, you don't care. And so the state of consciousness is disconnected and apathetic, meaning a person can't find their body very well and they don't actually want to. They don't really care. And so by the nature that you are even in this program and that you're taking the action to watch a video along these lines, it means that the predominant aspect of you as a human being in your growth cycles, in the rhythms that you are existing in right now, you probably have some apathy in some areas of your life, but you're proactive enough right now that you're clearly taking action. And so I like boiling things down very much into the real world of just human experience so that we can make things a little bit more tangible, because a lot of this breath work, it seems very intangible. And so the better that we can describe to ourselves and relate experiences and the way that we think and the way that we behave, then the probability is higher that we'll be able to notice the differentials in ourselves, and maybe you want to work with others utilizing this work. And so the state of consciousness is disconnected and apathetic. And this whole program exists inside of this domain that we call the land of the ordinary. Now, I've gone over this in the past, and I just really want to speak to disconnected and apathetic because so many people have had so many struggles and so much difficulty inside of their life that they're really just living out a quiet life of desperation. Things are just not going their way. They're not at the place where they want to kill themselves, but they're just not putting any effort anymore into their life, and they're just coasting along as the days and weeks go on. And maybe you can reference people that you know that are kind of like that right now. Maybe you've been like that in the past, and maybe you'll be like that in the future. We all ebb and flow in our states of consciousness. And so the point of this specific video is to help you recognize the state of consciousness, and then at the same time, how do you work with yourself if you're inside of this state, if you recognize you're in that, you just don't care. You don't care, you don't want to get your hands on your body, and how do you care for yourself in those times? And I would say it's really simple, is that you just make space for being a bit of a mess. and just make space for it. Don't worry about it. You know, it's like you don't need to berate yourself over it. If you just know that it's just a natural rhythm, the reality is that you're going to naturally come through it. See, because when you're really in this state of consciousness, these proactive things of going and doing something that you really enjoy doing, getting out and exercising, getting your hands on your body, you're just not going to want to do it. You're going to do all kinds of things that distract you from the way that you're actually experiencing the world. So if you can just remember to be tolerant of yourself and just don't have very high expectations of yourself, and just know that in the background, it's just going to work itself through. That's the best way to take care of yourself. The best way to take care of others, if you choose to become certified in the level 1 program, which I'll explain towards the end of the video, not this one, but the video series of how to do that. You may be working with other people, or you may have a friend that goes through a cycle of being disconnected and apathetic. You might have a parent that way. You might have a child or somebody that you're working with. And so what my suggestion is do your best to see what's right with them and make space for what's wrong with them. It's just like if you can just fluff up their pillows and just let things be, like, don't try to fix their problem. I'm not suggesting that. Don't try to fix their problem. But it's just like, just make space for the dirt that they are, and just kind of see the angel that they are. And if you just kind of fluff up their pillows, just make their life easy, but try to figure out how as a human being you can learn to not try to fix their problem. Because if you come from the position of polarity that you're trying to fix them, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be giving them unhealthy energy. You're going to be losing your energy, and they're going to be picking up your energy. So you're going to try to be their savior from their problem, and heaven forbid that they develop the lifelong strategy of not caring and verbalizing how much they don't care, because there's multiple people in their life that will give them a bunch of energy. Every time they do that, they'll end up as an energy vampire. So my hope is that you really understand that there's a delicate thing about caring for people and not trying to fix what their problem is. And the healthiest way to love somebody most of the time is to make space for the dirt that they are and acknowledge the angel that they are, trust that they're going to work it through, and help them be comfortable while they're going through it without fixing their problem for them. Because they're working through something, whether they know they're working through it or not. It's like their background sense of self is working it through. And they'll come through it, hopefully. Because the thing is about people that are apathetic is that they actually don't care. And so if they don't care, then it's really hard to get them honestly engaged in anything proactive that might make a difference. And so in the domain of evolutionary personal care, any breathwork exercises is just limited to inviting the person to participate. Maybe you've made an appointment for them, whether on some sort of screen FaceTime kind of application where you're going to be working with the person. And it's really just about the invitation. You're just checking in with them. It's like, oh, are they starting to come up out of their apathy or not? Because if you're really engaged with a person professionally, and you're looking to do some work with them, and they're apathetic about doing it, what you're doing is you're helping them rehearse connecting into their body while they don't care, and it'll have the tendency to reinforce that apathy. And so you want to be, I'm always very standoffish, and I very much let them lead. It's the kind of time in our office, it's like when people aren't making their appointments, they're not showing up. If they happen to get drug in, probably by a spouse, then the reality is that they don't want to be there. And so then professionally, it's just like you hold them the least amount responsible and be as gracious as you can. And so we need to cover the state of consciousness because it's very real. And some of the things that I've just talked about, they're very healthy in the way of helping yourself not lose energy to these people, but at the same time, you can be graceful around them. And so, so we'll see you in the next video.